In this lesson, we're going to see how we can enhance the elements that are present in a video using the different options that we have in After Effects. For example, the paint panel, the tracker panel, and the effects and presets that we already have. So we're going to just import our clip. And remember that once you're doing something directly on a video, the composition needs to be made out of that video. So I'm going to just import this. So instead of creating the composition here, just click and drag it onto your timeline. And now this video is the composition. I'm going to rename this to Monk. So basically what we have here is this monk with the lamp. And we can see that he is in a dark area. So if I want to enhance the element of light in this lamp, I can easily do that using the few panels that I mentioned. And that way we can enhance the excitement of the video by adding extra light to this or brightness to this. And before I start, I'm just going to crop and trim my video to like 4 seconds. You guys can leave it at full length. I'm just trying to avoid extra render time and loading time. So I'm just going to crop and trim my clip to 4 seconds. So using these techniques, you can apply to the full video. It will only take a bit longer. And expand, zoom into my timeline. Alright, so what we need to do is to first create that brush stroke for that lamp and then copy it onto a solid. So essentially, I'm going to bring this back to normal. We're going to double click on our video layer. So we have layer monk. Before that we were here. Now we are in the layer itself. And we're going to get the paint tool. So up here, click it once and you get these panels. And I'm just going to click this, put it here. So we're going to go in the beginning of our thing, our video. And before we start the stroke, make sure that your duration in the paint panel is set to constant and not right on or single frame. Because we want this light to be there from the start to the finish of our video. And now we need to adjust our brush. So you can see that I chose a really large number. Because if it's small, the glow will not really have that much effect. So put around 500 or so. You want it to be a little bit bigger than the lamp itself, like this. And because we have, this is by default, it will be like this. Because we have softened the edges, if I click here, the main light is going to be inside and the outside is going to be feathered out. So let's choose a color and then I'll show what that means. So down here in the paint panel, go click once on this guy. Then we're going to get the foreground color. And you could just get the eyedropper tool and get a color like this, but after going over it, you can see we don't really have a bright yellow color that we can use. And these lamps are usually yellow, the light that they give out. So you can either look for something else in the other parts of the video, or just click on one of the colors. You can see the light color is just white. So I'm going to go on this and then just bring the guy around here just to give it a little bit of a yellow color. Then hit OK. And then I'm going to click once on the center. So you can see we added this effect, which we obviously need to work with because it's too obvious. So you saw that even though it's 600 pixels, the rest of the part is feathered out, and that's creating a realistic look. Because that's just how the lamps work. You won't have like a, let me turn this to 100. You won't have something like this. Control Z, make sure you bring down the hardness to 0 so you get a really soft look. Alright, let's go back in the composition. So now that we have this, we need to actually add a glow effect to this clip, which we cannot do directly on this video, because this is what will happen. Go to Window and get Effects and Presets. If I look for glow here and apply it on this clip, the entire clip will have that glow effect. And that's just not what we want because we're trying to add glow to the lamp. So what we need to do is to just copy what we just did with the paint onto another layer. Hold down Control, press Y or Command Y to create a black solid. If it's another color, just go here and bring it down to black, then hit OK. The size would automatically be set to the size of your composition, so don't touch that. And hit OK. You can also just right click here, New, and then choose Solid. Alright, now that we have this, we need to copy the brush that we just add. I'm going to bring this here. I'm going to copy the brush stroke that we had in the monk video. So just open that up, open Effects, Paint, go on Brush 1, Control C or Command C, go to Black Solid 1, Control V. So now we can see we have this tiny guy. And then you can delete the brush 1 from the monk layer. Just go on brush 1, hit backspace, and now we do not have, you can also delete the paint effect in general, so you're left with the transform only. So now that we have this, we need to blend it in with the video below it. So go to Black Solid 1 and then come down to Toggle Switches / Mode to get this mode. So if you switch this, you can see we're getting different options for the video. Just go on this, Black Solid 1, Mode, and turn it to Screen. So you can see, I'm going to turn off the visibility, before, after. So now we've gotten rid of all the black color and only have the brush that we have. So I'm going to bring this down to 3rd so we can see and just make things load faster. Now we can easily add the glow effect onto the Black Solid 1 because it will only affect this light that we added. Just click and drag glow onto Black Solid 1, and this is what you're going to get first. We need to do some adjustments here. So just add to the threshold 100%. We've added the glow, and then you can actually take down some of the threshold, something like this. Can add to the glow radius, which we need to. Want to soften the edges. Just play around until you are happy. This was the before. This is the after, so we're adding the glow. So with the threshold, if you're reducing it, you're kind of making it bigger. If you're adding to it, you're making it smaller. And once you're adding to the radius, the glow radius, if you remove from it, you're sharpening it. If you add to it, you are making it softer, which remember we need to make it softer for it to look natural. Alright, I'm just going to bring this down so we can still have that middle light that we wanted. So you can see before, after, the glow just kind of makes it pop, and that's exactly what we want. We also have a glow intensity. You can go ahead and add to that. So again, before and after, if you add to the intensity, it's going to be more intense. So I'm happy with this. We have this yellow glow to the lamp, which would make sense in this scenario. Then go to Black Solid 1, and I'm just going to reduce the opacity for this entire layer so we can see the little metal things. Hit T on the Black Solid 1. Gonna get opacity. Just reduce this to a reasonable amount. You can see now we have the glow, but we're also seeing the structure of the lamp. Open this up, show you before and after again, so you know it's there. Before, after, before, after. So this was the paint. Without the paint, you can see we don't really have a glow. And this is the glow that we added. And this is what it was without the paint and the glow. So you can see we added quite a lot of enhancement. And just play around with the opacity. Hit T. If you feel like it's too much, you can always just reduce it. But I would highly recommend that you don't leave it above 90% because it's going to look fake. So I'm going to keep mine around 70%. Or just type in 70. There we are. So this is natural for me. It works as well. Alright, now that we have this glow effect, the problem is that we have a video. And once I play this, basically the black solid that we made is still in one position. And as the video moves around and so does the lamp, you can see the glow just separates from the lamp itself because it's still. Let this load and then we can see. So what we need to do is just connect this effect that we just did to the lamp itself. You can see it starts to separate. Here's our glow, the lamp is there, and it's just not connected. So in order to link this to our monk video, we need to use the tracker. So I'm going to save my project. Before you do something heavy like using the tracker, make sure that you save your project. Control S or Command S, or you can go to File and then Save here. Make sure you save it before you start the tracker. Alright, so I'm going to close the Paint panel. So I have my timeline. Go to Window, come down to Tracker. Now we have this panel. I'm going to drag this into this box so I can see the preview of my work. Alright, let's close Black Solid 1. Go to Monk, the video, and then go to Track Motion. So it's going to open a separate layer, and we again have these boxes that we need to assign to this thing. And because we're in the layer itself, we're not getting the glow effect. That's in the composition here. So click the points and try to grab it. Usually you need to like zoom in to grab it. And we want to center it within the lamp itself. Get the hand tool if you need to move around. I'm going to go here. Hit V for the selection tool. And again, the big box is going to tell After Effects where it should look for that point. And make sure you're at the start of your video, not in the center. So in the back, I'm going to use a big box to select the outline of this lamp. The middle box, I'm going to keep it small, and the box within, I need to find a point that After Effects can track. I'm going to go for this little part here, so I'll drag this and then this guy. So I'm going to ask After Effects to track this little guy, and the big box is just telling After Effects where it should look for that tiny dot, which would be within the glass. And before you start, right click in here, New, Null Object. I'm going to need this. And then go back on the monk video and come down to Motion Target. You can see it's set it to Black Solid 1, but that's wrong. It needs to be linked to the Null Object. So hit Edit Target. Go to Null 1, hit OK, and then hit this play button. So it's going to analyze each of the frames and then find the movement of that point that we gave it. And then we can easily link and apply those movements to our null object. And then we can just link the black solid to the null object. So it's a lot more simpler than the explanation. Go ahead and let this do its thing. When it's green, it means that it has analyzed it. It has a long way to go. This is why I brought it down to 4 seconds. You can obviously imagine how long it would take for it to reach a full 20 seconds. So I'm going to let this do its thing, and then I'll be back so we can continue. Alright, so it analyzed everything. You can see once this turns from a square into this, and it also reached the end of your clip, then you know it's ready. And now you just need to apply it to your target. Again, null 1, hit apply, X and Y. And now we can see that we have this little red box and all of these keyframes. So when we move back, you can see this red box is following along with the target that we chose. Alright, so now what we need to do is just link these black solid into null 1. You can see all the positions. So just get the pick whip on the black solid, the spiral thing. click and drag it onto null 1. So now the thing is connected. I'm gonna hit play. Now it's going to render. But essentially the paint strokes that we did on solid 1 is going to follow along the locations that the null path had. The reason why we use the null object is that it's a lot more easier for the motion tracking. So whenever you want to track something and you need a target, make sure you do it on a null object rather than directly onto your layer. So I'm going to let this render and we're done basically. We easily track this glow effect onto the lamp that we had in our video. So if I hit play, you can see that the glow is sticking directly into the target that we chose, even though the video is moving. And you can see the little box. Turn this to third. Usually when you leave it at full, it will kind of lag. And we can see that it's working perfectly. But if I turn off black solid, you can see this was the original. Turn it back on. This is the after. So that was how you can add and enhance a element that is present in your video. In this case, it was a glow to the lamp that we had. And now we're going to go to another example, which is a lot more simpler than this. And we will see how we can add and enhance the element of heat in a video. I'm going to stop this, go to project, double click. You have two more videos. We have a smoke video and a cup video. Just bring those in. I'm going to make a composition out of the cup video. So just go on it, right click, new comp from selection. So we still have the thing. That's if you wanted to keep it. I'm going to delete this so everything runs smoothly, but that's just how you make a separate composition. And now in this guy, we have a cup. Let me bring this to third. Cut this to 4 seconds. Trim it. And let's see what we're working with. We basically have a focused element, which is the hand and the phone. But in the background, we have a cup. And if I want to show that this was a hot cup of coffee, I can use a smoke element that we imported to show that it's steaming. And we can easily add that to just enhance the feeling of a fresh cup of hot coffee. I'm going to let this render just so we can see what we're working with. You can see it's blurred out, so we have to work with some of the effects. I'm going to go in the beginning of my clip and I'll just drag in the smoke video, place it on top. I'm going to rename this to smoke, rename this to cup. Alright, so in the smoke video, I'm going to play. And you can see it's a bit too intense. We obviously need to, number one, slow it down because this looks like it's something out of a cigarette. It's really fast and it's going directly up. So not only do we need to slow it down, we also need to mask it a bit and feather out the edges. So I'm going to just turn off the visibility for the cup. Before that, I'm just going to get the smoke video and just position it on top of where I think will be a good place. Let's put it here. And I'm going to just play it and see at what point the smoke starts to come. So I'm going to start from here. Because when you have a hot cup of coffee, it doesn't suddenly start smoking. It's constantly smoking. So we want to start from the area where the smoke effect is already in motion. Be around here. See if that's better. So you can see it's just going up constantly. And I'm going to let it run until it reaches the end of my clip. Just come here and trim my video. Now that I have this, I'm going to right click, go to time, go to time stretch. So what we need to do is just add a number greater than 100. Let's try 130. So it runs slow, which is the thing with steam coming from hot drinks. Needs to be slower than that. Time stretch, let's try 200. Want to be really slow. So we can see it's running slow. I would say this is a good speed. Actually, we should do this more. I'm going to trim this. And just keep working with the stretch. Let's try 300. Until you're happy with the speed and it matches the steam speed of a regular drink. Okay, this is a bit too slow. It's almost pixelated. And if you want to go back to your original time, just add a number lower than the one you had. So 250, let's see how that is. All right, so this is a lot better. You can see that it's there and it's not so slow that it's almost pixelated, but it's not that fast as the smoke coming from a cigarette. So it's really slow. We're all done with the speed. Gonna cut this too. Bring this to the start of my composition. And now we have some masking to do. So before I change the blending mode, I'm just gonna mask out by grabbing the pen tool. Just go on it, and what we want to do is just get the surrounding of this clip. Reach the edge, you can cut this out. I'm gonna bring it down, like if the video finishes here, I'm just gonna bring it down a little bit so I can feather those parts. Now that I have masked this out, I can simply change the blending mode to screen. So now we have this fiery smoke effect, but again, it's too intense, and we also have this sharp line that we need to fix. Alright, and now that I'm seeing the mask, I'm going to zoom in. Let me actually do the mask again, so I can see the rim of the cup. Hit Edge for the hand tool, hit G for the pen tool. Alright, so we're going to start from where we did. Just come around and then get the edge of the cup, and to get to the rim, just click and drag to have a curved line. Then we can just randomly finish off the rest. But again, come before the video finishes. So do that, and then we're just going to move this down so we can feather out the edge here. But now we have a nice little curve so that the smoke does not appear on here and only behind this, the rim of the glass. We have this. I'm going to first hit T on the smoke layer and just reduce the opacity. It's way too intense. Around 45% will do. Hit M. Close that off. I'm going to play this, and you can see we have a nice little smoke effect. It's still a little bit too intense. Remember, this is in the background, so, and it's also blurred out, so we don't want to make it too obvious. 23%. Hit M for the mask 1. Open mask 1, and we're just going to go to mask feather. Feather the edges quite a lot, because when you look at the smoke coming from drinks or the steam, it fades away as it gets further from the cup. So that's what we need to do. When we feather the edges, it's not going to affect here because we chose a big space between the actual smoke and the edge of our mask. But up here, it's going to feather it out around here. So that is good. Now we don't have that sharp edge that we used to have. Alright, so now we need to add a blurring effect, because again, it's in the background. Go to Effects and Presets. If you're not seeing it, Window, Effects and Presets, and look for Blur. Come down, and I'm going to get the Gaussian blur. Click and drag it on top of smoke. And here in the blurriness, add a good amount. Let's try 20. You can even go up and see what looks good. I think 32 is good. I'm going to look at it from afar. Change this to fit. Still a little bit too sharp. Let's try 40. 50. Alright, that's better. I still need to bring down the opacity because now that I'm looking at it from far, it's a little bit too intense. So 18%. You can see we're getting that steam, but it's not that obvious as it was before. And we've blurred it out, just like how the cup and the background is blurred out. So now this makes perfect sense. But now we have another problem. You can see that the video is moving. It's not exactly shot on a tripod. So again, the smoke is in one place and the cup is moving. So again, we need to use tracker to make sure that the smoke stays within the area that we chose. Stop that, and then we're going to go on top of smoke. Then go to the tracker panel right here, track motion. Oops, not the smoke video. Go to the cup. Before that, just make a null object. Right click, new null 2. Go on cup and then hit track motion. I'm going to grab all of these guys and just bring them here. This may be a little difficult because we don't really have a position for After Effects to track, but I'm just going to get like one of these rims and just do this. Let's see if that even works. Just want to make sure that it does. And let that be. Edit target. Make sure you set it to null 2. Hit OK. And I'm gonna start this. Let it do its thing, and then like we did with the monk video, we're gonna make sure that the smoke stays within the cup, or else it's going to start showing up here, and if you're planning on posting this anywhere, it's going to look bad. So I chose this little visible line that is in the cup. We're also not seeing the smoke because again, we're in the cup layer, and the smoke only applies when it's in the composition. So don't worry if you saw that the smoke is not there. It's only because we're out of the composition and into the cup layer. And also pay attention and make sure that the track point stays within the area that you chose. If it suddenly jumps out, hit pause or space and then just reposition it so that it stays within your target. Alright, and then our motion target is null 2. Hit apply, X and Y, hit OK. Again, we're seeing this little guy, and look at all those keyframes. Come back, and I'm going to close cup. Just get the smoke, big whip, to null 2. Let's play this. And now we shouldn't really have a perfectly still effect. I'm going to turn this to third. The smoke should be completely stuck onto the cup, just like how any other smoke or steam would be. It won't appear suddenly out of here. It will be stuck to the cup because it's coming from the cup. So that was how we can easily enhance different elements in videos. So this could also apply to other videos. For example, if you have a video of yourself on a beach and it's a sunny day, but you're not getting those light leaks that you want to show that it was really sunny, you can always just download a light leak overlay. Make sure you type for sun so you don't have some colorful lights. And as long as the background is black and you only have that element, you can easily just change the blending mode to screen and you will only get that. And we also saw how we can pin things to the original video using a tracker. So if you are moving in that video, again, make sure you have a part for the tracker panel to track. So if it's a visible line like this, if it's a dot, if it's an earring or ring, just something for After Effects to track, and then you can easily attach that overlay that you downloaded onto that part of your video, just like we did in these two examples. So I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson, and I will see you guys in the next one.